On this channel, $1 Million Made Easy, we love to run numbers for people. We also talk about some of the current debates going on in the financial world. And a lot of debates been built around Dave Ramsey's 8% withdrawal rule. Is it safe to withdraw 8% withdrawing each year? What I want to do is look at his numbers. He said if have somebody that has $1 million and he gets the 12% average return, which is what the stock market has averaged over the last 100 years, you can take out 80,000. I'm just using 78,000 here. Um, I want you to listen to his numbers now. I don't want to misrepresent Dave, but this is the big debate, and I want this cleared up as much as I possibly can using actual numbers. But listen to what he says here.
In this space. It's just wrong. Listen, man, the math I just gave you is the math. If you're making 12% and inflation is 4, and you leave 4 in there, so your nest egg grows by 4, it's simple. 8 is what's left over. So if you got $1 million and you leave 4% in there, that's $40,000. Okay, so you now have $1,040,000. So the next year you get a rate of return of 12%, 11.5% on the $1,040,000. And the next year it'll be $1,090,000, 1.1.
I want to continue to see what Dave says here because I don't want to misrepresent him. Listen to what he says.
I'll never be able to save enough to retire. $1 million should create for you an $80,000 income, boys and girls. So you should perpetually, like if forever, you should be able to pull 80,000 forever and never destroy it.
So there you heard him say it. If you should be able to pull out 78, he said 80,000 in perpetuity, forever, never even touching this $1 million. Is this scenario with $12% averages? That's what you're going to get. You're never going to touch it. Again, he said you had $1,040,000 and $1,090,000 after the first and second year, and it's only going to go up. You're not going to touch it because you're getting 12% and you're only taking out 8%. Folks, that's not the real world. I want to show you actual returns. This is called sequence of return risk. If your initial years are down years, you can knock this amount down so fast that you actually run out of money. Here's what Dave said. You start out with $1 million, you take out 80,000, in this case 78,000 in perpetuity, you never run out of money. Well, yes, you do. You see it right here. You're taking out 78,000 and you're running out of money. Why? Because the market went down, down, down. After 3 years, you're down to less than half of what you started with. And pretty soon, even though the market came back some, it can't catch up, and you run out of money in what? 12 years. 12 years if you have returns like that. People will say, no, you don't take 8% out of the original balance. Well, that's what he did. He said $80,000 in perpetuity. Remember what he said. You never touch the $1 million. Let's look at actual returns. But let's allow for somebody says, no, you take 8% of the current balance, not the original balance, but what's left. Let's do that. I want to show you something. Okay, you're planning on 78,000. We're not even taking into account in COLA that you give yourself, because each year it'd get more and more expensive, so you'd want a COLA. But just leaving it this 80,000 or 78,000, like Dave said, what happens if you go with 8% of the remaining balance? All of a sudden, in the fourth year, you could only take out 8% of the remaining balance, which is right here. You can only take out 37,000. So here you are planning your retirement, and you want to plan on 78,000. And once you've got these 3 down years, because they were so devastating, look at what you left with 8% of the remaining balance all the way through here. Instead of 78,000 going into retirement, this is what you have. In fact, at one point in 2009, after the big drop in 2008, you could only withdraw $25,000 a year. That's what happens when you use actual numbers, not average numbers. You've got to look at actual returns. Does this happen very often? No. But who knows whether you're going to have these kind of down years, these kind of down years, these kind of down years. Most of the time you'll be just fine, but nobody can tell you for sure what's going to happen. If you have 3 down years, even 2 down years like right here, it could run you out of money. Or if you don't like that scenario, if you want to use the current balance, it could knock you down. So instead of getting 78,000, you're only able to withdraw 25,000. That's what happens. Most of the time, you would be just fine, but start out with the 4% rule that's been used for decades. If you have some good years, if we don't start out with these bad years, then you can change that. You can start withdrawing 5%, 6%. Eventually, you probably could get to 8% because of the numbers. But you've got to be careful because those first years, if they're down years, they can knock you down so that you either run out of money right here. We saw that if you stuck with the 80,000, which Dave says you can do it in perpetuity, take out that 78,000 all the way through. You never touch the million. Yes, you do. Or if you take the remaining balance, current balance, 8%, then you got to go from 6,500 down to 2157 when you were planning on, or you're down to 25,000 when you're planning on 78,000. I just want to run the numbers for you to show you that you've got to really be careful when you talk about average returns. But that's what we do on this channel. Most of the time we run numbers for people, but I also want to clear up some issues that are hotbed issues right now. And one of them is Dave Ramsey's 8% rule. Please consider subscribing to this channel. Tell your friends about it. We cover all kinds of different issues and we run numbers for people. Please consider subscribing. Please share this with friends. Like the video and thanks for watching.